Imagine you're finally settling in for the evening. The lights are low and you're starting to relax. Then your phone screen glows, revealing a single bright red circle over an app. Even if you don't pick it up, that tiny dot starts to pull at your attention. You might feel a slight tightness in your chest, or a sudden urge to reach out and clear it. It feels less like a choice and more like a physical reflex, a magnetic draw that makes it difficult to focus on anything else until that dot is gone. To understand why a few red pixels can command so much power, we have to look past the glass and circuits and explore the ancient wiring of the human brain. Tucked deep inside your head is the amygdala. For our ancestors, this was the primary alarm system, a dedicated center for spotting trouble before the rest of the brain even knew what was happening. Evolution taught the system that the color red is a high priority signal. It's the color of fire, the color of blood, and poisonous berries. When our ancestors saw red, their brains shifted into a state of high alert to keep them alive. Modern designers know this. They chose red for notifications because it's the most effective way to trigger that ancient survival response. They've taken a color that once helped us avoid predators and used it to make sure we don't miss a status update. This makes the red dot a direct line to your brain's threat detection system. It sparks a reaction in your biology before you have a chance to think, turning a simple app icon into a signal your brain treats as a matter of urgency. Once the color red has grabbed your attention, a second process begins. This is the part that makes you actually want to tap the screen, even if you suspect the message isn't important. This feeling is driven by a chemical called dopamine. We often think of it as the pleasure chemical, but its real job is to handle the chase. It floods your system when you anticipate a reward, providing the motivation to go after it. This works exactly like a slot machine. The reason a casino is so hard to leave is that you don't know what you'll get when you pull the lever. Sometimes it's a jackpot, sometimes it's nothing. Your phone uses this same mystery. That red dot might lead to an interesting message, a new follower, or just an annoying advertisement. Because the result is a surprise, your brain releases even more dopamine during the wait, making the urge to check feel much stronger. This creates a cycle that's hard to break. You see the red dot, you feel the rush of anticipation, you perform the action of tapping, and then you get a small, unpredictable result. This pattern trains your brain to keep coming back for that next hit of maybe. By mirroring the mechanics of gambling, these alerts create a biological pull that's difficult to resist. Your brain is essentially being rewarded for staying distracted. But why does it feel so uncomfortable to leave that dot alone? Even when we know the notification is just spam, the sight of it can feel like a nagging weight. Our brains are wired to seek closure. When we see a pattern with a missing piece, like this puzzle, our mind stays focused on that gap. We have a natural drive to finish what we start and fill in the blanks. A notification is a gap in a pattern. It's an unfinished task that stays active in your awareness. Clearing that red dot is your way of finishing the puzzle, providing a brief sense of relief as you close the loop. The problem is that these loops never stop. When you experience hundreds of these tiny alarms and unfinished tasks every day, your nervous system stays in a state of constant, low-level stress. Your brain only has a limited supply of the chemicals it uses to stay focused and motivated. Every time a red dot pulls at your attention, it drains a little bit of that energy. Eventually, the tank runs dry. This leads to a state of mental burnout, where you feel overwhelmed, anxious, and unable to process even simple information. If you feel drained by your phone, it's because your biological systems are being pushed beyond what they were designed to handle. It's a natural reaction to a system that never gives your brain a chance to rest. Since these responses are rooted in predictable biology, we can use that same science to regain our focus. By making a few small changes, we can quiet the alarm and put ourselves back in charge. The most effective step is to turn off non-essential badges. When you remove the red dot, you stop the signal before it ever hits the amygdala. If the brain doesn't see the alarm, it doesn't trigger the stress. You can also choose to check your phone on your own terms. By looking at your messages in batches at specific times, you remove the element of surprise. This takes away the slot machine effect and keeps your dopamine levels stable. There is one more adjustment that can instantly change how you interact with your phone: switching the display to grayscale mode. Draining the color from your screen removes the evolutionary power of that red dot. Without the color of danger to grab its attention, your inner caveman stays calm. The icons become just icons rather than urgent signals. You aren't lacking willpower, you're just living with a brain designed for a very different world. By understanding your own biology, you can change the environment around you and finally quiet the noise.